everyone, welcome to another video from Whisker. This is the first installment of a new series from Whisker. So this series is about configuring NVDA for a very beginner users. In this video, we're gonna cover the general preference of NVDA. So I'm going to share my experience regarding the settings for NVDA. We are not going to cover all the settings for NVDA, but only some basics so you can help for a completely beginner or new user for NVDA. For the full instruction about settings, I recommend you to read the user guide in the NVX's website. So we shall begin. Now we are on the Windows 10 laptop. I'm going to turn on my NVDA with the key Control Alt N for November. So I press Control Alt and N November.
Taskbar.
After hearing that that sound, it means that NVDA has started. Now we're gonna open the context menu for NVDA setting. Press NVDA key and N for November.
NVDA menu.
The NVDA key is an insert key by default, but we can also use caps lock if it's already assigned. Just to make sure, use insert key. Context menu now appeared on a desktop. I'm gonna press down arrow multiple times to show you what is the items in the context menu. Down arrow.
Preferences submenu P.
Down arrow.
Tool submenu T.
Down arrow.
Help submenu H. Configuration profiles ...
Down arrow.
Revert to saved configuration R. Reset configuration to factory defaults R. Save configuration S.
Down
Donate
arrow.
D. Exit X. Preferences submenu P.
Now we're back to the top list. Preferences. It says Preferences submenu D. That means this item is Preferences, which has submenu, and the shortcut is D. Now we're going to the submenu. Press right arrow.
Settings ... S.
This is the submenu from Preferences. The first item is Settings with the shortcut S. I'm gonna press down arrow multiple times to show you what's in the submenu here.
Speech dictionary submenu D.
Down
Punctuation
arrow.
/ symbol pronunciation ...
Down
Input
arrow.
gestures ... Settings ...
We're back to settings. This is the menu that we want. Now press enter.
NVDA settings : general left paren, normal configuration right paren, dialog, categories : list, general 1 of 13.
Stop. I press control to stop. The window for the settings now appear. The window has two main parts. The first part is the list of the settings, and the other part is the detail of the selected list. We are now in the first item of the list of settings. I'm gonna press down arrow 3 times to show you the items on the list.
Speech 2 of 13.
This is the second item.
Braille 3 of 13.
This is the third item.
Vision 4 of 13.
This is the fourth item. There are still many items downward, but today we only gonna cover the first item. I'm gonna press up arrow.
Braille 3 of 13.
Up.
Speech 2 of 13.
Up.
General 1 of 13.
Up. Oh, sorry.
Speech 2 of 13. General 1 of 13.
General is the first item. General item. General.
Speech General 1 of 13.
This is the list of the setting of items. To go to the detail section, press Tab.
General property page. NVDA language left paren. Requires restart right paren, colon, combo box user default collapsed alt plus L.
Press Control to stop. Remember, if we press Enter, it will apply the settings, the current settings, and close the whole of the settings of the NVDA settings window. So we only press OK if we want to apply the configuration and exit the settings window. Now we are on the detail section of a general setting. This is the first item, which how to know the first item? Press NVDA key and tap. Insert and tap.
NVDA language left paren. Requires restart right paren, colon, combo box user default focused collapse.
So NVDA tab is to tell NVDA to read the current focus. Since the current focus is the first item of the detail, it reads the first item of the detail. I'm gonna press NVDA tab again.
NVDA language left paren. Requires restart right paren, colon, combo box user default focused collapsed alt plus L.
This first setting is to choose the language that we are going to use for NVDA. We're gonna leave the current setting by the system. That means it's gonna use the language that is used by the system. To change the if you want to change language, press up and down arrow. Down arrow.
Afrikaans left paren, South Africa right paren, comma, AF line ZA. Albanian, comma, SQ.
But we're gonna go back to the
Afrikaans left paren, user default,
which is user default. Now move to the next item. Press tab.
Save configuration when exiting NVDA checkbox checked alt plus S.
This is to save configuration every time we exit NVDA. I'm gonna check. Now press tab.
Show exit options when exiting NVDA checkbox checked alt plus W.
This is the show option every time we exit NVDA. To exit NVDA, use the shortcut NVDA key plus Q as in Queen. NVDA key by default is insert, or we can use also caps lock. Now press tab to the next setting.
Play sounds when starting or exiting NVDA checkbox checked alt plus P.
That's the sound that we heard when I first restarted NVDA. To change the select options, use spacebar. Now I press spacebar as an example.
Space, not checked.
This will uncheck the selection to play the sound. Now I press spacebar again.
Space, checked.
This will check the selection for the sound. To make sure, I'm gonna press NVDA key plus tab to know what's the current focus.
Play sounds when starting or exiting NVDA checkbox focus checked alt plus P.
Yeah, it's the sound selection. Now press tab again to go to the next setting.
Logging level colon, combo box info collapsed alt plus O.
We're gonna leave the logging level to info. Press tab.
Start NVDA after I sign in checkbox checked alt plus A.
Since I'm visually impaired, I always need NVDA every time I start the computer. So I'll leave it check. Now press tab.
Use NVDA during sign dash in left paren. Requires administrator privileges right paren. Checkbox checked.
Also the same. I'm gonna need NVDA whenever I sign in. Now press tab for the next setting.
Use currently saved settings during sign dash in and unsecure screens left paren. Requires administrator privileges right paren. Button.
If you notice on the last word it mentioned is button, that means this is a button, not a checkbox anymore. So I'm gonna press insert tab again to repeat what this option about.
Use currently saved settings during sign-in and on secure screens left paren, requires administrator privileges right paren, button focused.
So this button is this button is used if you want to apply this current setting to the NVDA setting when we before we sign in. Let's say we want the speech rate to be the same rate. We could apply this button, press this button to have the same setting for the NVDA before we sign into Windows. Now press tab again.
Automatically check for updates to NVDA checkbox checked Alt plus U.
This will automatically check the NVDA update. I'm gonna leave it check. Press tab again.
Notify for pending update on startup checkbox checked Alt plus P.
Tab again.
Allow the NVDA project to gather NVDA usage statistics checkbox checked.
This is to allow NVDA to gather the usage statistic to help NV access to improve NVDA. Now press tab.
OK button.
OK button. This will apply the new configuration if we just make changes and close the setting window. I'm not gonna use this because I wanna show you the other buttons. Press tab.
Cancel button.
Cancel button. This is to discard all the changes that we have made. Press tab.
Apply button Alt plus A.
Apply button is going to apply all the changes we made without exiting the NVDA setting window. I'm gonna press this, press enter.
Categories : list, general 1 of 13.
Now back to the general. And we are going to close this window by pressing escape button.
Unknown.
That concludes the first installment of our configuring NVDA. I really hope this could help for those who just started to use NVDA, because when I first started to use NVDA, I know that I should start from some simple things, some guidance. The bad thing about user guide is always thorough and too much for beginner. That's why in this channel I intend to make simple things to help beginners to start the first steps on the journey. All right, next time I'm gonna continue with another configuring NVDA series, so stay tuned. All right, thank you.
Streamlabs desktop. Clickable Streamlabs desktop -1.11.